You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. Don't think we have any of those, and I've said it before, if you call in early, you run the risk of me not playing your call, and that is going to be the case today. I did look through a couple of them. I know Nate said he hopes Malik plays. I think that was probably the right call. I'm not saying that Jordan's the reason we lost necessarily, just that dude was not ready. That's what happens when you don't practice all week. It would have been nice to allow him to sit, let him have a full week of practice, and come back out. And who knows what Malik could have done. You assume if there was just one less pick, much less potentially three less picks, there's a good chance we win the game. But whatever. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. This is 10 minutes into the game. Snacks, what's up? Snacks?
Please, for the love of holy, don't turn this into a day of me just complaining that Jair is hurt and didn't play, and that they're going to throw for 9,000 yards. I mean, outside of McDuffie dropping that pick, which would have helped, that looked pretty easy. We better march.
Yeah, and again, I may occasionally speak as though you just heard me record tomorrow's podcast, which would be impossible. But I mean, the bottom line is a lot of things could have changed. A lot of minor things could have changed, and we win this game, which is shocking considering how many mistakes the Packers made. It was a 2-point loss, and yeah, I have to assume Jair being in the game also would have made a pretty big difference. I think the defense tightened up overall, but there were some serious issues there. I mean, just the one drive where, the entire momentum shifted, and there was like a 20-yard and a 30-yard pass to Justin Jefferson back-to-back. There was the Justin Jefferson touchdown where Nixon was covering that I think could have been a pick if he was just paying attention. Not saying Jair would have had a pick, but who knows? Or maybe he doesn't even throw it. I don't know. But anyways, there we go. I don't think this is even a call. Nope, that's just 2 seconds of something. I don't know what that is. Pedro at 12:21.
Hey, Ryan. It's me, Pedro, the head from Brazil.
What's up?
We just finished our first drive, and God, I'm sick of it. I mean, I can't take more penalties. I can't take this kicker anymore, or other kickers for that matter. I just can't. We keep making the same mistake over and over. Always. We should have catch that ball. I know that Love throw wasn't the best in the world, but it hit him in his hands every single time, man. I hope we get better, but you know what? And the defense side, it should have been a pick. It should have been a pick. It should have been an interception. It hit McDuffie in the chest, and he didn't grab the ball. So just these little mistakes every single time, man. I'm tired. I'm just tired.
Well, buckle up because it's only going to get worse, at least until the end of the half. That is tomorrow's podcast. So it's interesting. About halftime, a little before halftime, I more or less gave up. Didn't give up on the idea that we could win, and I said that in the podcast, but like I just need to get started. It's a long day when you do the whole game, and then you come down, you got to do the whole podcast, then you have to do it's a long day. So I just want to get started so that hopefully I can at least be done with one around the same time that the game is done, and at least something was accomplished today. But anyways, one of the first things I did just in the first half, I went through because I documented every mistake that I saw in the game. It was endless, over and over and over and over again. And I don't know how long we can sit here and talk about preseason. I think we're past that. And now is the time where, some teams are going to start playing disciplined football, like the Vikings. I think they played pretty disciplined football. Of course, they had a couple mistakes, like every team makes a couple. But they're in, like, regular season or postseason form. And, granted, there's a lot of teams that are not. The Chiefs seem to still really be struggling. The Jets just lost to the freaking Broncos. Like, there's a lot of, slow out of the gate type stuff. And I think that's why the Vikings are beating so many teams, is they're just a very disciplined football team right now, beating up on a bunch of teams that just cannot do simple crap. Don't throw the ball, you moron. You're across the line of scrimmage. Brissett is so bad. I'm sorry. But no, it's just the mistakes have got to stop. And it gets, I'm much happier the way the game ended. But it gets even more frustrating when you look at it and go, if we could just play a clean game, we'd have beat the crap out of the Vikings. We would have beat the crap out of them. I mean, my goodness, we lost by 2 points. We missed 2 field goals, including a chip shot that was basically an extra point. We turned the ball over 5 times. I don't even know what the 5th one is. I counted it. I counted 4. One of them happened. I don't even know where it is. But 5 turnovers in the game. And it's a 2-point loss. And dropped touchdowns. I'm pretty sure Wicks, I think this is the one you're even talking about. I mean, he dropped it. It would have been a first down, potentially even a touchdown, but then Wicks for sure drops a touchdown. Hits him right in the chest. I don't know how many mistakes you can make in a game. It's out of control. I mean, this is just a sloppy football team. I mean, listen, credit to Matt LaFleur for what he does as far as game plan and all that stuff, but we got to figure something out. You get what you practice, and I think the Packers show a lot of aptitude in a lot of areas, but there's a lot of the basics. I feel like we skipped the basics and went to like the more advanced stuff, and maybe we should take some time and slow down and make sure we got it. Just go over some of these things, and we really need to hammer out these penalties. I'm so tired of every big run gets overturned because of a penalty. Emmanuel Wilson's one big run, Tucker Kraft is grabbing a guy's shoulder. So many penalties are unnecessary. You had the penalty on Stokes that was never going to get caught. He grabs and holds his shoulder pad. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Not great, Ryan.
No.
Not great. Pass to Reed. Everybody's looking great, feeling good about the love, man. And then it stalls. Got to catch that ball, and I'm still happy we don't have Anders or whatever the hell his name is. But golly, did we have?
I'll tell you what. If you wouldn't rather have Anders right now, I think you're just in denial. I think you have like Anders derangement syndrome, as the kids say. Like you just hate that guy so he's so traumatized you. If you wouldn't take Anders back at this point, that dude broke your brain, because Anders is not missing both of those kicks. He's just not. Nobody is going to miss his. And by the way, he came into this game sucking. There's a good chance we win the game against the Eagles and this game. We could be 4-0 if not for our kicker. The fact that we're excited that the guy had like a 75% rate missing, he hit 3, but just missed the 1. I mean, that's not bad. Yes, it is. That is bad. That's not good. I'm not saying we should go get Anders. This kicker has to go. That was a bad decision. It just was. Listen, Anders wasn't great. Daniel Carlson wasn't great. This was a bad decision. Gutekunst makes a lot of good decisions. He makes some bad decisions. This was a bad decision. We went and got this kicker blind, and he's been awful.
Can we just get somebody to make him? I mean, it doesn't have to be all the time, but my Lord. Jeez. All right, let's go.
Yeah, no, that would be nice. And I'm not one of those people that really just want somebody cut immediately. Enough is it. I'm like, this is terrible. This is terrible. He was terrible coming into this game. He cost us this game. He missed 2 not difficult kicks. Not difficult. I mean, when I'm looking at this saying I'm positive that Anders would be better than this, then we got to do something. If you're not going to bring back Anders, get literally anybody. All the terrible veterans that are out there that are, making whatever that they just go get. I don't care. Like this is awful.
I mean, ton of time left, and I'm not throwing in the towel, but honestly, man, this is pathetic. Like, inexcusable on all fronts. Penalties, missed field goals, you name it. It's just pathetic. Golly, for how good they executed and were coached the last 2 weeks to come out like this. Golly, that's disheartening. Pissed.
And listen, I was saying this the whole time, and maybe nobody agreed. I don't think they played super great football. Like, Malik was awesome. And last week, the wide receivers stepped up. 2 weeks ago, I don't think they did, or at least Wicks didn't. But aside from that, it was sloppy. The penalties are out of control. The defense made lots of mistakes. They obviously made up for it with picks and everything else. But my fear was you go up against a good team and a disciplined team, this is all going to get exposed. Now, it's not to say that they were always this bad. And, Jordan certainly was really bad out of the gate, which, maybe Malik wouldn't have, whatever. But, this has been the team for 4 weeks. If we just talk about penalties, it's been 4 weeks of this. And then go on to look at a bunch of other stuff. I'm just watching a replay. I didn't see Justin Jefferson taunting the crowd. What a piece of garbage. I can't stand that guy. Yeah, Jair's not there, so you don't get shut out this week. Didn't the guy have like 5 yards in the first half, too? He's a good receiver, but you're going to go out there and actually not get shut out because Jair's not in there and you're going to brag about it? Like, cool. All right, great. I want Jair back next time, and I want him to just freaking clown that guy. What a jag-off. Anyways.
Hey, Ryan. It's me again, Pedro Hedge from Brazil. So, the first quarter just ended, and I got to say, this game looks like it's going to be a spanking. Our defensive line looks like a bunch of children trying to win against their offensive line. So many penalties. The missed kick, the interception. Jordan is not 100%, I know, but this game doesn't look pretty. It's way worse than I expected. I don't know much more what to say, but our D-line needs to get better. It's just embarrassing how much time Sam Darnold has.
Yeah, there is zero pressure with the front four. That has to change. And now with Wyatt out, which I don't know his status, but last I heard, he was in the locker room with a boot and crutches. That to me means he's out for a long time. So now we're really in trouble because we got Kenny, who can't do anything. We got Slayton, who can't do anything. We got Rashawn, who seemingly can't do anything. We got Preston, who can't do anything. We got Lucas Van Ness, who can't do anything. We got Enigbare that can't do anything. We got, Wooden, who can't do anything. Brooks, who doesn't even get any playing time, I don't think. Maybe I got that backwards. I don't know. Got to figure something out. You got to win with 4. If you can't occasionally get pressure or at least get some pressure. That was the thing I always liked about Rashawn is it's like even if he loses, eventually he's going to drive that guy into the quarterback, so you can't sit there for 4 or 5 seconds. Even if he's not getting there in 2.5 or even 3, 3.2, 3.5, yeah, he's going to get there. And that's not happening right now. So got to figure something out.
True, you throw the ball and the gaps for Jones, it's just, it's really ugly. And yeah, I just hope we don't get absolutely humiliated at Lambeau. Because losing, it's
Take heart.
Bad. Losing to a rival, it's worse. Losing to a rival at Lambeau is even worse. And having a embarrassing loss to a rival at Lambeau is like the worst case possible. So yeah, hope it get better. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
It gets worse before it gets better, Pedro.
Oh, one more thing that I forgot to talk about. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Gutekunst, but you know what? He needs to step up. We need to fix this kicking thing.
Yeah.
We just need it. I can't take it no more. So I don't care if he uses like 3 draft picks and take like 3 kickers next draft, or if he's going to trade for someone right now. But he needs to fix this. The offensive line coach, I'm sorry, I don't even know his name, but I'm done with him too. It's just really bad. So many penalties. I just can't take it anymore. And Stokes, or he steps up, or he can go bye-bye as well. I'm not really patient with this guy anymore. Yeah. Going to start the second quarter right now. I'm going to watch it, so talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and I mean, last week I said, corner might be a need for the team, and it wasn't even necessarily an anti-Stokes thing. It was just, if you're bringing extra guys, you're going to need that. And I think that that's true. That was part of the problem is, and again, not having Jair hurts, and I think Keyshawn is just bad in man-to-man coverage. He said that before. I think that certainly stays true here. But either way, listen, we can't be in a situation where, we've got two options. One, we rush 4 and nobody gets home. Or 2, we bring extra guys and we get pressure, but nobody can cover in man coverage and somebody's wide open and they pick us apart. Like, that's kind of where we're at right now. And, look, I think Hafley's doing the best he can, and I think ultimately they're doing a decent job. I mean, it's always a weird thing where I feel like they're getting the crap beat out of them, and then you look and you're like, it's not that bad. Even a lot of I got to go back and look specifically at the scores and how they all happened and how much is on the defense compared to, the offense putting them in a bad spot or whatever the case may be. Or just penalties, because, again, that's not even so much a schematic thing. That's just you freaking idiot. I know there were several of those with the defensive holding and the pass interference and the face mask by Edgerrin Cooper and whatever else happened. But, on some level, you got to have guys step up. Stupid frickin' microphone again. At the end of the day, that's what you need. It should be the other way around. If we rush 4, it's fine because those guys are such good pass rushers they can get home. And if we bring extra guys, it's fine because our guys can play man-to-man. That's what this whole defense is predicated on. It only works if you have really good guys that can play things like man. And again, I believe in Jair. I think he's done a great job. I don't know about the other guys. I don't know. Now, again, it tightened up down the stretch, so they must have been able to do a pretty good job. It'd be interesting to go back and review that. I mean, if Stokes gave up like a pass and had a penalty, I'm not mad at the guy for playing all day long. But we'll have to go back and look. I mean, Keyshawn had the one strip which could have won us the game, which is a big play, so obviously massive kudos for that. But as far as his ability to be a corner, he gave up 2 touchdowns in this game. He had a missed tackle that led to a touchdown, and he had a coverage that could have been a pick that was a touchdown. So it's early. We got some figuring out to do. Hafley's new to this whole deal, and I'm sure he came in with a plan, and he may have to adjust his plan because guys maybe aren't as good as he thought, and things just aren't working. So I don't know. But again, there are a lot of positives here. We got to figure out how to, we can't complain too much about the pressure considering we had 8 sacks last week. Some things are working. He's finding ways. This game, it didn't work. Got to go back to the drawing board, figure out why it didn't work. And again, I think the difficult thing here is, it's easy enough to say if we're not generating pressure with 4, we bring 5, we bring 6. But then we got to have guys on the back end. And listen, maybe not having Jair killed this whole thing. If we had Jair, we could have brought extra guys. And we could have played better in man coverage, right? And then, we would have seen much more blitzing, much more uncomfortable Sam Darnold, much more plays, stops, sacks, picks, whatever the case may be. Really, not to oversimplify it, but that maybe is a big part of what completely screwed our defense is just, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And Hafley, first of all, just being scared to blitz outright because he knows his guys just can't handle it. And then when he finally decides to dial it up, they get carved up. So he's like, yep, that's frickin' what I thought, I guess. Anyways, let's take our first break. We'll come back. We got Snacks calling in at 12:49, so we haven't even made it to 1 o'clock yet. We'll be right back.
I'm going golfing, man. This is absolutely inexcusable. This is about as bad as they've played in Lord knows how long.
Yeah.
Just nobody's ready to do anything. And nobody, not one person, I know it's a team thing, but not one person making a play or trying to make a play to swing momentum. Just execution, coaching, everything. It's just everybody awful. Awful, awful, awful. Golly. What a shame. The Vikings, man, credit to them. They're just kicking our ass. Sucks.
Well, and again, it just comes down to an undisciplined team and a disciplined team. If you can just play a clean game, if you can, throw accurate passes, catch passes that come to you, don't drop it, capitalize on opportunities. So if a defender gets hit with the ball, you catch it, unlike McDuffie, you had the Minnesota defenders catching those balls. Like, Romeo tries to turn around, catches it. He doesn't quite catch it. Defender's right there to catch it. It's just about make the play that's right in front of you. It's not even super heroic things. It's just if there's a play to be made, make the play. And kudos to the Vikings. They did that. I think that they did that pretty much all day. And the Packers they haven't all year. They have not been a team that has just really played a clean game. I think last week was probably the most clean. And that's really just comes down to like Malik and the wide receivers and in the offensive line. The offense played a pretty clean game. It's hard to hate the defense because they were so ridiculously productive with turnovers and sacks. But still a lot of penalties, missed tackles, et cetera, et cetera. So, but I know I'm skipping ahead here, but having seen the outcome, you realize how dangerous this team can be. To score 29 points in a half while still making mistakes, while still throwing picks, while still dropping passes, while still committing penalties. They marched down the field, scored 29 points. That's pretty solid. Now it's just about cleaning it up, right? Let's get Jair back so we can kind of get the defense back where we need it to be. Also, why it would be nice to get another corner so it's the entire defense isn't predicated on Jair being in the game. Let's get Jordan a full week of practice where we can, first of all, game plan around him being in the game the whole time, as opposed to going, I don't know, let's come up with 2 game plans, see what happens, and then putting Jordan out there. I still think too early. He clearly was still injured, which really ticks me off to see him not feel comfortable on his leg, not being able to, as they said, lean on, put some pressure on that leg, all that stuff. Get him a full week, let him come back against a easier opponent, and let's just beat the living crap out of them. Let's do what we did to the Vikings in the second half, but let's do it the whole game. Let's get some actual pressure. Let's cause some disruption. Let's get McKinney that 5th interception in 5 games, and let's get back on track. Because you know what? Kudos to the Vikings. Good game. You earned the win. You played some good football. I'm excited to see him again. Right? The whole thing now is be a team that's going to beat the Vikings next time, because they weren't in this game. That's obvious. But we know that they can be. So we came into this knowing this was a tough game. We came into this saying this kind of sucks. To have Jordan come back this week of all weeks, right? To have Jordan end up coming back, having not played for several weeks, not practiced one time against what is being billed as the number 1 defense in football, that sucks. Like, that freaking sucks. And it did suck. It sucked. And we almost won. So how's that?
Hey, it's Craig. It's 20. Just scored their 3rd touchdown, and we haven't scored a point.
Yeah, it gets worse.
What a terrible start. Jordan doesn't look good at all. I don't know if he's...
It is funny, like, whenever things are bad, there are a lot of people that just refuse to put blame on Jordan. So I always like it when people like Craig call and they just say, like, yeah, Jordan looks bad. Because a lot of times it's like, it's not just Jordan, but he hasn't thrown an accurate pass at all in the first half. He's thrown picks in the first half. It's like, well, you got to catch it. Well, technically, if somebody from heaven came down and didn't, just could have caught the ball. Bro, it was a bull crap pass, all right? Can you just say it? All right? We don't have to say he's the worst quarterback in football. We don't have to give up on him. We can understand the context and say, gee, he's really got a tough game ahead of him. Dude hasn't practiced. His knee still hurts. Like, this is an understandable performance. But let's just call a bad pass a freaking bad pass. Can we please?
Favor in the leg, but throwing him off, that pass to Watson was stupid. They had like 3 or 4 people there.
Oh.
I don't get it. Obviously, we have a kicker issue. Defense looks terrible. There's absolutely no pass rush. Secondary looks confused, missing tackles. Aaron Jones is doing what Aaron Jones does, getting a little revenge.
I will say we did a good job holding him not only out of the end zone, I don't think he got 100 yards either. So I'm going to call that one of many victories in this game. McKinney getting his pick, coming within 2 points, Jordan kind of coming back at the end. Jaden Reed is just the eternal victory. He's just nothing but victory. That was, I would call that a victory. No touchdowns, not 100 yards on the day.
So yeah, not a great start. So it's going to be a long day. Also, the penalties are ridiculous on
Yes.
us. I also don't see him calling anything on them.
No.
Be lots of
And granted, I don't think they're committing as many, but there was one in particular. I even wrote it down in the notes. The right tackle clearly jumped off early. Like it's an easy one. Like the ref's looking right there. That's one you should call every time when the right tackle jumps. You call that. Got away with it. They drive down, get a touchdown. It's like, I'm not asking for much here, but if they're gonna commit like 2 penalties in this whole game, and you don't call one of those 2, we're really screwed here.
Jerseys. There's a huge push in the back on Van Ness when he was about to get Sam Darnold, and again, that doesn't get called. So we're certainly hurting ourselves with the penalties as well. And when McDuffie dropped that interception right at the beginning of the game, I told my grandson, that's not good. Those always come back to bite us. And that could have been a big momentum shift. I'm not sure why we didn't take the ball when we won the toss. There's talk all week about the Vikings have always been playing ahead. So what if we would get ahead of them? Would that change how they play? And I just thought at home we'd probably take the ball and try to score right away and get them on their heels a little bit. But obviously the staff thought something different. So we'll continue. Let's see if this is one of the world's greatest comebacks. I'd be happy to call back later. Take care. Bye.
Well, you almost got to witness that. But yeah, I mean, I more or less laid it all out there. And again, these are all things that you come back to say, man, if they could have just played a halfway clean game, they could have won the game. But it is what it is, At this point, that is maybe the biggest thing, is just being able to play clean football. To me, it's not a talent thing. There's a few people you might be like, I'm a little worried. Kenny and Rashawn and some other guys that, seemingly have produced. But, I've been worried about Rashawn since he got his contract. And, of course, everybody poo-poos that. Like, oh, how dare you? He's going to be great. He had an injury. You don't know anything. Like, okay, I'm just saying. I haven't seen it, and I'd like to see it. Still haven't seen it from him. Kenny, haven't seen it in about 4 years, so I'm not really holding my breath on that one. I'm concerned about Quay. He did have a sack in the game, but I've never been concerned about him as a blitzer. I'm concerned about him in coverage, which I saw him make mistakes. I'm concerned about him, playing the run, et cetera, et cetera. Like, those are my concerns, so we'll see what PFF had to say about him. But, again, I think everybody's got concerns about certain players. I also genuinely think if this is a team that can play 4 clean quarters, this is a team that can beat the living daylights out of just about any other team. Just showing replays. I don't think I appreciated enough that Tucker Kraft touchdown. I know we haven't gotten there in the calls yet, and maybe we will. But, that was such an impressive touchdown, especially considering that's exactly what you drafted him to be. To catch the ball, basically stiff arm and steamroll 2 different guys to say, GTFO my way, and get in for the score. That was a good play. All right, Pedro, we are at 111, just for context.
Hey, Ryan. It's me again.
Man, that is the most depressed call I have ever heard on this show, and we've lost playoff games.
So, right now it's 28-0 for the Vikings, and as far as I'm concerned, the game's over. So, take out Julian Love so he can heal better. Put Malik in the game. I just want this game to win. Right now, it's frustrating. It's embarrassing. I don't know what else it is. One more kick that we missed. Not that would make any difference, but you know what?
Oh, it would.
I just I'm done with this. As far as I'm concerned, we don't kick any more field goals or just use the kicker to extra point, and that's it.
And what is it, me, or did he almost miss an extra point? I don't even remember which one it was. Maybe it was I think it might have been the first one, right at the end of the half or whatever time that we got that one touchdown. I swear he almost missed that kick. Like, I had to wait for the refs to signal because I wasn't sure.
We go for the first one every single drive. I don't care anymore. So many drops. Many drops.
Yes.
I don't know, man. It's looking pretty rough, and we need someone to hold accountable for it. So,
I will say Wicks in particular has been a bit of a problem. He's been a little bit of a disappointment. He's a talented guy, but since the beginning of the season, he's had a decent amount of drops. He has not seemingly been like the go-to guy that you'd hope he would be, being this premier route runner. Dobbs, Reed, and even Watson, again, he wasn't utilized as much because of the situation with the quarterback, but when he looked good. That going up and getting the 50-50 ball coming across and the speed across the field. I mean, you just feel a lot better. Now, granted, Wicks also was the most targeted in this game, so if he didn't have so many drops, he could have been the standout player. Again, he might have potentially had 4 touchdowns in this game. So I don't want to give up on Wicks because I think if he could start hauling these in, he may go ahead to be the number one receiver. Again, the fact that he was targeted 13 times in the game or something, only had 5 catches, I think. But, bottom line, he's got to clean it up. But, he's been, I think, the biggest disappointment among the wide receivers so far.
Just too targeting over the game. That's it. I don't think I'm going to be calling him. So, yeah. Bye-bye.
By the way, it might be unfair of me to say this. I appreciate you calling from Brazil, but it's kind of muffly. So maybe just try to speak extra clear and loud and everything, which is hard when you're depressed. But I'm just saying, the last couple of calls I've heard about 25% of the words that you said, but I think we get the point.
What's up? It's Aaron. Usually from Eau Claire, but this weekend I'm in New York City for.
I was worried you were going to say Minnesota because I know you're in that area. Please don't tell me you went there.
Trip. Anyways, I'm watching this game. It's almost half.
I didn't mean to the game, by the way. I just meant, I don't know, cross the river there to go to a bar or something.
Time. And it is embarrassing.
Yes.
The Packers have played absolutely terrible. The Vikings have completely dominated in every possible way. So yeah, I'm not enjoying it at all. But I'm calling to also comment on some of the challenged play calls and everything. I don't know if Packers fans are going to feel that the refs favored the Vikings unfairly on those challenge catches. But I actually agree with the refs.
Yeah, I did too.
I agree with the calls that were made on that they ended up with.
Okay, if anything, the most questionable was the McKinney pick. But again, that would have been a travesty if they overturned that.
It reminds me of the Des Bryant non-catch in the Cowboys playoff game, where the Cowboys just never let that one go. They were convinced that was a catch, but
right.
My response was always, it wouldn't be a catch if Jordy Nelson or Devontae Adams did the exact same thing. And I think it's fair as Packers fans to accept the consequences of those.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, we've been the benefactor of those rules as well. So, anyways, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those games that we're just going to want to flush in the toilet, just move on, because there's nothing good about this. Yeah, anyways.
Well, hang in there, Ron. I'm worried about how many people are going to turn their games completely off and miss some really good stuff. But you're right. And listen, a lot of those were also Jordan Love. Again, the whole issue of him not being able to transfer power to that left leg, for some reason, caused the ball to dive. A lot of low passes in this game. And a lot of those reviews, if not all of them, came because guys were trying to dig the balls out from their shoelaces. They're trying to make these incredible catches, but they just couldn't. Which again, I will say, first of all, I expect the receivers to make more catches when the balls are not at their toes. And also, I expect Jordan to start throwing the ball better, as he already did in the second half. We're talking about giving him a full week of practice. How about this dude needed 1 half to kind of get back in the rhythm? Now, he still made terrible decisions. However, that is a Jordan syndrome. Jordan is a hero. And I don't always mean that in the best possible way. He's been doing this since college. When the chips are down, this dude will close his eyes and just fling it to the end zone every single time. And I can't tell you how many times in this game I'm looking at him like, Jordan, why? Why are you doing that? Like, every play doesn't need to be a touchdown, dude. Just calm down. But, again, when we're not playing down 28, when he's not, his leg isn't hurt and he's got time to practice, I expect the balls to be more accurate, which means I expect more catches to happen, et cetera, et cetera. But your main point with the refs, I agree. I don't think there were any that I looked at that I was super ticked off about. I definitely thought it could go our way on some of them, but I understood that it didn't. All right, Chris from Alabama at 145.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama. Of course, it's halftime, and that half of football was just terrible. Just to be as nice as I can be. Terrible on both sides of the football. The kicker, we still have problems with these freaking kickers that cannot make kicks. I don't know what we're going to have to do about that, but we definitely going to have to do something about it. This guy is not the guy that they have been portraying, and we still have kicker issues.
And again, as somebody who gets annoyed when it's like, cut him, find somebody else, I would not be surprised and would almost be disappointed if he didn't get moved on from. Now, granted, you have to have somebody on the other side, but if they went and got Anders Carlson again, I wouldn't be surprised. If they got freaking Mason Crosby, I don't care who it is, anybody at this point, because that is beyond inexcusable. For a guy that came into this game as a bad kicker with a bad percentage, to miss 2 field goals and to lose the game as a result of that, and to have neither of them beyond 50 yards, one of them being just outside of extra point range, it is beyond inexcusable. Plus, he wears number 44. It was never going to work. We got to move on.
At this point, you might well just bring the guy off the practice squad and just give him a game and see what he can do.
Yeah.
But
and why not?
Man.
I mean, if we bring in some jag off the street, just any old bum, and he comes in and he makes 1 of 3, it's like, well, that sucked. It didn't work. But I'm not going to be like, oh, why did we get rid of Narveson? Nobody's going to say that. Nobody's going to say that. Because I don't know that Narveson hits 1 of 3.
The 7 points that we scored, it just seemed like it took, man, it seemed like it just took, like, the hand of God to get in the end zone. But
well, and let's think about that for a second. You want to talk about a team that can't get their crap together. And by the way, I had it muted, so I didn't even hear why it wasn't a touchdown. I have no idea. But yeah, we had a guy that fumbled the ball. We recover it. I thought run it into the touchdown, but to the end zone, but I guess not. He recovers it. We're on like the 5-yard line. Jordan has to throw, what, a 15, 20-yard touchdown pass? That shouldn't happen. He should not have to throw a 20-yard pass to get in the end zone when you're on the 5-yard line. But what happened? Penalties. I think that was the Matt LaFleur penalty, which was stupid to begin with. But still, it's like we just can't stop going backwards. We can't stop making mistakes. We can't stop making things harder than it had to be. It was nice seeing that pass from Jordan, because up to that point, I don't know if there was a single pass that I really liked. That was a pretty touchdown pass. So that was the first time you're like, okay, here we go. Settle in. Not that I expected to win, but it's still like, at this point, I just need to see that Jordan is playing better. Because I understand his leg hurts and all that and whatever, but I'm getting a little nervous because I come into this season saying it's unlikely he's not a good quarterback. And then week 1 happens and it goes, still unlikely, but that sucked. And then this game happened. It's like, still unlikely, but it's really starting to suck. I needed that pass.
I mean, that's terrible first half. We are in a big hole. I'm not going to say it's over with, but it's looking real slim, man. We're going to have to come out, definitely score on this first drive of this first half, second half when we come out. We definitely got to put 7 points on the board, and the defense going to have to tighten up. Major adjustments need to be made at halftime, pretty sure right now. Matt LaFleur is blowing a head gasket in the locker room, and rightfully so. He needs to. Everybody in the locker room needs to get cussed out at this moment because ain't nobody doing nothing except for Wheeling the punter. He's the only one that did something today, but We just going to come out and turn it around in the second half. Like I said, I ain't going to say it's over yet because stranger things have happened, but we're going to have to tighten up a whole lot. But go back up in here, man, and get ready for the second half, and hopefully we can do a whole 360 and turn this thing around, man. Go, Pack, go, and I'll talk to y'all after the game.
Well, I like this part because 1:45 was this call. The next call isn't until 2:30. Now, granted, you got a 30-minute period of or is it 15 minutes for the halftime? Whatever, doesn't matter. Bottom line is I feel like this is a long enough period of time where everybody gave up, and now 45 minutes later, people are coming right back, and they're like, hold up, I got to talk about something real quick. What do we got here? Aaron, what's up?
Hey, it's
Aaron
Jimmy.
number 2, Jimmy, yeah.
It's been a long, long time, my friend. I have not felt the need to comment on anything until just now. And I want to say this. First of all, this is obviously going to happen today. It was Aaron Jones' homecoming. The football gods are just telling us, we shouldn't have let a good guy go. Or at least they're giving him his comeuppance. It is what it is. And the Vikings, as you have well documented, are in a bit of a juggernaut phase right now. And you know what? I'm okay with it. And I'll tell you why. They are in their juggernaut phase at the beginning of the season, which means nothing for the end of the season, as we all know. The other reason I'm okay with this loss today, which I'm assuming will be a loss, is when we go face them in the playoffs in their home. It'll be that much sweeter when we knock them out of the playoffs. So, it's a long season. This is Love's first game back. I was seeing those short passes, and then I heard them talking about him not planting enough. And, it's not surprising, not worrisome. It is what it is. It is one game. Doesn't feel good. Didn't feel good when Favre came back and kicked the crap out of us either. But, it wasn't surprising.
No, I agree.
Last thought, Wicks. I think he's maybe cooked. I mean, they're trying so hard to get him going in this game. And even that last fourth down touchdown attempt, it hit him in the chest. I mean,
that's rough.
He should have caught that. So I think we need to ride the hot hand and recognize when a hand is ice cold and move on for the moment. Not forever, but for the game, you know? Anyway, go Pack, go. Bye.
No, I think you're right about all of that. I mean, it certainly, and I talked about it prior too. I mean, it feels bad when you've got Jordan coming back with no practice against this good defense. Aaron Jones revenge, the whole thing was just set up to be a Vikings win. Certainly wasn't guaranteed. You were hoping that things would have gone differently. And again, I'm still encouraged by Wicks, the fact that he was targeted so much. I tend to think he's still a good route runner, but something just isn't quite there. Some of those passes were bad, and there's no doubt about it. It's one of those, well, you should have caught it. I understand. Maybe he's just not doing really well with those right now. I don't know. But even that touchdown catch, he almost dropped that one. Look, Christian Watson went through a period with bad drops. Romeo Doubs, they both were really bad drop guys. Remember when we were talking about how everybody on the team is just really bad with drops, and Gutekunst keeps drafting all these guys that have drop problems? I think Reed even maybe was one of them. I'm positive that the tight ends, if not both of them, one of them was, maybe Musgrave or something, had drop issues. And it's like, man, this whole team can't catch. Everybody's dropping all the time. Now, I trust Dobbs and Reed implicitly. Watson we haven't seen much of, but lately that dude is locked in. He's not dropping nothing. He even made a really good attempt on that play where he almost got killed. If there was ever a time where I wanted a guy to just be a coward and say, never mind, I'm just, maybe I'll try to bat it to the ground. Otherwise, I'm just going to duck for cover and let this get picked. He's going out and dying for these balls, and that's what these guys have been doing. And I feel like that's maybe what's missing from Wicks is just that, I'm going to die for this ball. Wicks is more kind of oh, that was down there. Maybe he's a little rattled because, again, he kind of got out of the gate a little messed up, and obviously not saying he was up in his head all that much, but everybody's kind of surpassing him, whereas maybe he was thinking he was going to be the top guy. A lot of people did. I don't know. The bottom line is, though, like you said, it's not giving up forever. It's just understanding he's a little bit behind the eight ball. I don't know what we do with that information. I don't want to tell Jordan to not throw at him because, again, he's a good route runner. If he's open, throw it, He's just got to step up, I guess. But I don't know. It was a rough game. Get on those jugs machines. And, again, a lot of guys with drop issues have, I don't want to say completely overcome it. There's still some drops, but they've significantly improved, and I have faith in Wicks.
But I'm picking up the clubs out, heading home. Kraft cheese slices, come on!
I'm guessing that was the Kraft touchdown. And again, I didn't really think about it all that much. It was one of those, like those things happen once in a while where it's like, oh, you broke a tackle, and he's still going, and he gets a touchdown. Ah, yes. But when you really stop and think about it, and you go, man, Kraft is emerging. He's not an elite tight end, but he's emerging. He's taking those steps from, another one of these bust Packers tight ends to actually a pretty serviceable tight end to, like, I really kind of like this guy. Some people are way beyond that already. I'm slowly coming into that. But again, then you understand, like, what his function is. And if nothing else, he is a guy that is more or less sure-handed. He catches some short passes, and then he turns north and south, and he is the scariest human being on planet Earth. And what does he do? He goes up, drops a guy, continues battling through, and fights for a touchdown. And you look at that and go, there are, maybe a dozen guys in the NFL that score on that play? Maybe. That's an asset. He is an asset. It's another thing to get excited about with this team. There's a lot of different guys doing different things, but the physicality of the team has improved. I mean, you look at the after catch, Jaden Reed. He's not you don't think of him as a physical guy, but him after the catch is incredible. There was just a stat that I read for tomorrow, but he had 61 yards after the catch over expected in this game. So not just after the catch, but more so than you would expect. That dude fights for yardage. Wicks, having trouble catching the ball, but he's known for being a big physical guy that gets extra yards after the catch. Josh Jacobs, good Lord, he is a scary human being. He trucked a few guys in this game and ended up getting extra yards. He didn't carry very often, but even in those limited carries, we got to see some really impressive runs. And now you got Tucker Kraft that's just out physicaling everybody. So it's a fun thing to have so many different facets. Anyways, I didn't realize we're getting this late. Let's take our second break. We got some positive things coming around the bend here, so I feel like the third period here is going to be when we have a little bit of fun. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Aaron number 2, a.k.a. Jimmy.
It's Jimmy again.
Hey, Jimmy.
I have two thoughts.
Okay.
I would like to apologize, first of all, to Dontavian Wicks.
Sure.
I apologize. I'm glad they're still going to you. You're a good guy. You're trying hard. And they obviously know more about this than I do. What the hell do I know? Then again, maybe my call inspired something in the zeitgeist
Sure.
and helped spur it along. Anyway, that's
Absolutely.
the minor part. The real thing I want to say is that Kraft Lambeau leap. And I want to just take a moment and tell you something serious here.
Look it up.
He literally leapt into the arms of my son.
What?
My son's at that game, and that was his first Lambeau leap. And I saw it. I saw it on the television. And I have video. That my son
Might be
was
some
shooting
volume
of the
here.
touchdown.
Send it to me, please. Sorry,
And,
that's very loud. I just want to see
and there
this.
is a joy. There is a deep,
See if I can find your
joy
son here. Jump in the crowd.
that sports doesn't often touch on. But in that moment, it really did for me. And I don't
see
care. We win the game. That would be great. Obviously, I am screaming even harder than I was before. But I know when the game is over that
That's
something transcended that game today that was incredibly special. I instilled this in him, and he has a love there that is directly from me and returns to me when something good happens like that. So go, Pack, go.
Is that your son that got put in a headlock by Tucker Kraft? Like, there's a young guy that kind of leans forward, and Tucker, like, he has his arms up and then he puts them down, and it's almost like he's putting, like he's giving him a hug. He's got him in a headlock. There's a few other young guys there, and I don't know, maybe you're an older guy. Your son's not that young. There's a few young guys over there, but yeah, there's one guy that's like right in Tucker Kraft's. He's right on the 5, and he's being given a headlock. If that's your son, wow. I mean, get that frame, dude. That's awesome. Very happy that he got to experience that.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan Chris from Alabama? Well, valiant effort, man. It was ugly the whole game.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Boy, battle back.
I thought we'd get some calls. I guess in the throes of it, it's really hard to pick up a call because you're so glued to your TV, but that's all right.
Turnovers killed them. Turnovers killed them. The turnover just killed us, man. But we ain't lay down and give up, man. We almost pulled something off, man. And like I said when I called at halftime, and why I didn't want to say it was over with yet. It was looking bleak, but I didn't want to say it was over. But damn, man. Well, Minnesota 4-0, man. Who would have thought that after 4 weeks we would be sitting up here saying Minnesota's 4-0 and got a 2-game lead over everybody else in the doggone division.
Yeah.
Well, depending on what happens with the Lions game, right. That is. But we're 2-2 and Bears 2-2. And season still early, man. Just couldn't we buried ourselves in a hole early. And we couldn't climb out of, man. You know what I'm saying? We got no love first game back. He looked at Rusty. It seemed like in the second half he got his footing under him and kind of played a whole lot better than what he was playing. But, the pick late in the end zone with Wicks, I don't know if that was a communication issue or, he was just trying to get the ball out of his hand fast because the pressure was coming. I'm not sure, man, but... man, freaking Vikings, man. I hate the freaking Vikings and I hate the Bears. And the Bears won. So my Sunday is this is a trash Sunday. Just throw this Sunday in the trash. Yep. And we'll pick it back up next week. But yeah, tough loss today, man. We'll see them down the road.
Yep.
Just go ahead and just bear this one and get ready for next week, man. West Coast trip out to LA. They lost to the Bears today, so they're going to be looking for some redemption.
Right.
We should get some get back, but we'll see, man. Go Pack, go, man. I'll talk to y'all later, man. Man, tough loss today.
On the flip side, to be fair to the Packers here, they lost to the Bears, so not a very good football team. Anyways, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. No, but I think that's a good point. And again, I don't want to discredit the fact that we lost a game because these games matter, right? It's a 17-game season. This isn't baseball. Every game matters. This absolutely could come back to bite us at the end of the season. However, how much of this game changes the way you feel about this team moving forward? Like, if I were to ask myself that question, which thing are you really having to adjust my opinion of moving forward? Nothing. Right? I mean, I'm done with the kicker. My fear of the defensive line is at an all-time high, especially with now Wyatt seemingly being out for a while. But I mean, even the corners, like, I don't know. I mean, first of all, I don't know how bad of a game Stokes had. He had some mistakes, but out of 50 some odd play, I don't know. Maybe it was terrible. Maybe it was great. I don't think my opinion goes up or down. It kind of stays where it was. Keyshawn, I came into this game with a low opinion of his coverage grade. I've talked about it numerous times, or coverage ability coming into this. So that doesn't really change. We needed Jair. So yeah, I'm hopeful that we can get Jair back because he's important. And again, like I said last week, corner might be our team's biggest need, so that doesn't really change anything for me. Linebackers, I don't think anything changes. Safety, certainly nothing changes. I saw Bullard and McKinney twice in this game, and twice they made big plays. That was the only times I saw. Maybe they made some mistakes on the back end that cost us. I don't know. We'll see. Offensively, do I feel worse about Jordan? No. Maybe 2% worse because, again, those terrible decisions down the stretch make me nervous, but maybe that's just who he is. And, the inaccuracy scared the crap out of me. But, the fact that there's reasons for it, we saw him not transferring his weight, and we saw him get better down the stretch. And he hasn't practiced, like actually full practice in 3 weeks, 4 weeks? Like he hasn't been to a full practice since prior to the Eagles game. I So yeah, if my fears have gone up about Jordan, it's a half of a percent. Wide receivers, not really. I mean, I was always kind of not iffy on Wicks, but like, it's been kind of like, where's that Wicks explosion at? I mean, honestly, there's two things that make me nervous, and it's Wyatt and Watson. That's it. And as far as I know, Watson should be short term. I don't know. It sounds like Watson told Matt LaFleur that he thinks it's a sprain. Worst case scenario, I think, for that is 6 weeks. Best case scenario, he'd be back next week. So it's a pretty broad range, but if it is a sprain, he'll be back. Hopefully sooner than later, because again, agree or disagree with me, I don't care. My opinion remains that Watson is a critical piece of this offense, not only because of those plays that he can make, here and there, but just what he does as far as stressing defenses and whatnot. But those are my biggest fears, especially Wyatt, because I'm really worried about a guy going straight into a cast and crutches. That might be a season-ending deal, and the fact that he's really the only productive guy as a pass rusher right now. And plus, I just really like Wyatt, and I'm excited about his immersion and all that stuff, but whatever. Anyways, folks, I'm going to leave it at that, I think. We got some more calls. I'm interested to hear the perspectives. It feels like most of us are on the same page. I was kind of, you never know. I formulate an opinion, but certainly could go in a lot of different directions. It kind of feels like we're more or less on the same page, but we will see as time goes on. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll do it again this coming week, man. We got more battles ahead of us. Laughing at the enemy might be lacking this week, but we got hope for the Lions yet, so fingers crossed that the Lions have something happen. Otherwise, we just may have to skip it this week unless you guys want to make fun of the Jets, which can be fun. Salah's a joke, and Hassan Reddick I don't think is back, so there's a couple punchlines there. I don't know. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.